Japanese can be direct and also indirect. So the Japanese are pretty famous for being indirect with their communication, but sometimes they're very direct. A good example of this, body shaming. So it's quite normal here. If someone's a bit of a fatty, they'll point it out, and it's not a bad thing at all. But in our culture, and it's probably only been recently, I think, in the last decade or so, that pointing out these things to people is a bit of a faux pas. But in Japan, quite common that someone will body shame. So you always see very thin people in Japan, and they're very sort of conscious of their weight and things like this, and that's because people point it out. If someone puts on 5 or 10 kilos, people will tell them. So this sort of keeps them in line, so to speak, puts a bit of shame in their game. And this used to be the case when I was a youngster in Australia. If someone put on a bit of weight and they got a bit big around the jowls, people would point it out, but that's just not done anymore. And this sort of thinking that every sort of body shape is fine and healthy and stuff, but they don't believe this here, and they like to keep the shame in people's games. So for all other stuff, they're very indirect with their communication style. They'll talk around the subject, and you have to sort of put the pieces of the puzzle together. But when it comes to these sort of things, they can be super direct. So if you're a little bit of a fatty like me, don't take it the wrong way. That's just how it is here. And if your ego's that fragile that you get upset about little things like that, then Japan's not the place to live, that's for sure. And it's probably true for most of Asia. Asians can be quite direct in that sort of body shaming scenario. So it's quite funny. I've got a sort of a theory that the more accurate a description of somebody, the more offensive it is. So if there's a group of people and there's someone who you want to point out, if you say it's the fat woman with the blue shirt, and they will automatically know who you're talking about. That's an offensive thing to say, I suppose, but the more accurate a description and the more cut to the chase it is, generally the more insulting it is. So it's not uncommon that if somebody wants to tell you about someone and you're not sure what that person is, they'll body shame them. They'll say, oh, it's the fat guy or whatever, and cut to the chase immediately. So they don't dance around these sort of things, and that's perfectly normal, and it's not insulting. It's just a statement of fact, isn't it? Every year you have to do your health check, and in the case of me, all my health indicators are all good, blood pressure and all that sort of thing, but the doctor will always tell you that you're a fatty, so it doesn't matter how good your health is or whatever, they'll always go back to this fat thing. So it's quite normal where we're from to have a few extra kilos. It's not really seen as too bad, but in Japan it is. They see it as really, really unhealthy, even if all your other health indicators are good. If you're carrying around excess weight, they'll let you know. So this is also true if you're poor. Like if somebody's really poor, they'll also point that out as well. So being seen to be really poor, poor as in having no money, sometimes they'll point that out as well. And I've seen this a few times. So there's a bit of an image thing in Japan. So there's a lot of people who are driving around in new cars, and they've only got normal jobs, but they're driving around in $70,000 cars. A little bit of this going on in Australia as well, but sort of people, their image is not fitting where they are in life. And the Japanese love their cars, and they won't drive around in a really old car like what I'm driving at the moment. There's not many people that drive a 22-year-old car like I do, but that's because I've got a different mentality when it comes to cars. It's just a means to an end, just to get you from A to B sort of thing. But in Japan, cars are a bit of a status. So people will change their cars out after 5, 6 or 7 years, and a lot of times it's only got 40,000 kilometers on it. And this is why whenever you see the Japanese import cars in Australia or America, they've got very low kilometers on them, and they've been traded in, and people have got the next model up, the new model, and that's because it's an image. So it's not uncommon to see somebody driving a brand new car, but they're renting an apartment somewhere, and they've done that all their lives. And as most people know, you can buy a house, a quite serviceable house, an older one like an Akira or something. You can buy them much cheaper than $70,000, but they prefer to pay rent for an apartment that's sort of a couple of rooms and low maintenance, and spend their money on a car. So this is super common, and especially in the more expensive places. So a lot of people in the big cities, they rent all their lives, but they're never seen in a car that's older than 5 years. And it's just an image thing. And new clothes, if your clothes just have like a little tiny little hole in it or something, they'll throw it out. Whereas at least me, I still wear them. If it's just got a little hole in it, doesn't matter. But the Japanese would never do that. So they always buy new clothes, and they always look good, and even if they just go down to 7-Eleven like I just did, they look like they're going to work or something. They're never underdressed at all. So there's definitely no the people of Walmart Japan. People have seen that website, the people of Walmart. It's pretty hilarious. But, what Westerners sort of wear, just going to the shop or whatever. People going out in their pajamas and whatever, just going into Walmart, and there's some pretty funny photos of people, and we generally don't really care, but they'll dress up, makeup and all, just to go down the shop. So the last 2 days I've been in bed basically with the flu, so I'll be shutting my cafe on Friday, just until this flu goes over. I should be right for Saturday, but I'll be shutting on Friday, and for those who are interested, how it works in Japan, you ring up the clinic and you tell them that you suspect you've got the flu and your temperature is such and such, and what they do is they tell you to wait in the car park, and they'll service you in the car park as a customer, so it stops people going in to the clinics if it's just like a temperature and stuff, and they'll write you a prescription. So there's certain times of the day where these clinics will treat these conditions that are, they call them netsu, basically fever conditions, and they won't treat people with fevers all day, and that's to eliminate risk, because a lot of the customers are elderly. And I have to say, this flu is unbelievable. I took 10 minutes to get dressed. That's how slow and just how much it really knocks the energy out of you. So I understand totally why they do this. Somebody who's older than me, if they had this flu that I had, it could be life-threatening. So that's how they do the flus. And I'll be shutting my cafe because it's just a little bit too much of a risk for the customers. So definitely Friday, and possibly I might just shut it for the whole weekend. I'll see how I pull up on Friday. So anyway, guys, that's the video on the Japanese being direct, and as always, hope you like the video.
Let's go back home.